debut in the main roster. You're the manager of TNA, Test and Albert.
Yep.
And, straight away you're put into big angles. And one of the things that you do within the first couple of months is take the stink face from Rikishi.
I sure did.
Now, wrestling sometimes doesn't seem like it's the most inviting to non-wrestling people.
Right.
Was it a nice scenario of how the stink face was given to you? Because we've heard that Rikishi sometimes cannot be nice about how he does it.
You mean, did he not completely bring his into my? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Had he used all his wet wipes that day to make sure he was?
Did he use all his weight to? You know what? He was pretty good about it. I just got the surface.
And what was your reaction like when they said, "We want you to do this"?
Heck yeah! This is going to be so exciting. I have no carrots in my teeth. Listen, I was up for anything. I wouldn't, even if I didn't want it, if I was like, oh man, I do not want this to happen. But I'm up for everything. Tonight, also up for anything, just so you know. So anything. They got me to try to drink last night in Scotland. Remember that?
Yeah. Why are you booing Scotland?
England.
Without Scotland, you wouldn't be here.
England. Scotland.
Back to wrestling.
Or we could talk football. Whatever. Anything goes.
Sure. What kind of football do you want to talk about?
What's your favorite yoga pose, Kenny?
My favorite what? No. Later. Summer 2000, you are led into the Triple H Stephanie love triangle when you're teaming with Triple H. Again, you've only been in the company a few months and you're kind of thrust into this big storyline. What was it like being put in that environment? What was Triple H like to work with?
Great. Yes, a lot of people say to me, gosh, you learned so quickly, you improved, we saw you, just improve so quickly, but you have to think about it. I was working with the tops, right? I was working alongside Vince and Triple H and all these people, so you can't suck. Don't go to work and suck today because you're with the boss and you're with these top people. So it made me bring my very best and of course try hard and not suck. It was great and it was neat for me. I just love when you can see different characters interacting, right? So for me, one of the highlights of my career was when you say Triple H and I. So Triple H and I teamed up against Lita and The Rock in the main event. Do you guys remember that? That was awesome. So it was fun because working with them and seeing how they put their match together and just watching the whole process at their level was super cool. Knowing that the company was trusting us to have a main event match. And believe me, main eventing is a major thing, right? As you know, it is. It's status-wise, but the responsibility, right? You're given this section of the show to bring it home, to finish on time, to deliver at the right moment, to have the crowd react accordingly. So it's a heavy responsibility. So for us to get that, Lita and I knew they're basically let's see if they can do this. Can they hang with the boys, right? And that's all we ever wanted. So it was great.
And did you? Because at the time, Triple H and Stephanie were definitely not together.
Definitely not together. No, they were not.
Did you have any sense that they were definitely not together?
Definitely not together. So we did have, speaking of Stephanie and I, we had a very big match. It was one of the biggest matches of my career.
We're going to get to that.
Oh, we're not there yet?
We go one...
Jumping ahead. No.
One more thing before that.
Pause on that thought. Let's pin that to the board.
Well, you worked with Lita a lot at the beginning, but you also worked a lot of matches with Jackie. And I believe that she was a little bit tough on you.
A little bit of an ass kicker. She whooped my ass, that woman. Oh my goodness. She was very... Did you say she was very tough on you? Is that what you said? Yeah, that would be an understatement. It was like tough love. I call it tough love because she was doing, but I always said to her too, I'm like she would not go lightly on me, which I appreciated. I wanted, just like when I was training with the boys, I'm like, just treat me like one of the boys, let's go all out. Maybe she laid in a little bit harder than she should have or could have or didn't have to, but that's cool. I learned from that. And I remember always going back to her and being like, thank you so much, and I'm really sorry. I want to make sure that you're not bringing your level of match down because of me. Like, I just, I was very sincere when I said that. I didn't want to be like, ugh, I got to work the new chick, So that made me, again, another thing, just made me bring my A game and kind of helped me elevate every time I went out. So she was awesome, very tough on me, and whooped my ass, that woman.
And what is that like when you've just started?
It hurts, Kenny.
But some people might not survive the kind of idea of like, you're new, you got to pay your dues.
That's right.
What was
Yeah.
your mindset to kind of get through that?
Well, I think that's what it is some people don't survive, right? If you can fight through it, and if you can get through it and recognize it's not like it's not just hazing, it's for your own benefit in a way. Like I say, it's tough love, and it's those things that kind of make you stronger, and those are the ones, if you can get through it, those are the ones that stick around.
And then you're presented with this storyline, which is, one of the biggest storylines of your career. It is the affair with you and Vince McMahon, with Linda, the comatose in the wheelchair, all that stuff.
I don't. Wait, was I
did want to
comatose?
ask
I don't
you,
remember.
do you remember how?
Nothing. So weird.
No
yeah.
memory.
So strange. Sorry. Sorry. What is your name? I don't even remember.
Do you when that was sort of pitched to you, that's
Yeah.
the storyline you're going to do? Was it laid out? This is going to be a long-term thing. Was it do you remember your kind of mindset of when that was all pitched to you?
Yeah, we did have a bit of a plan. We knew we were working towards certain moments. Obviously, things usually culminate to, within the storyline, to pay-per-views, things like that. So we knew we would ultimately get to, I was obviously the character that you love to hate. But we eventually knew that I was going to go out on my own, and I was going to be one of the independent wrestlers. I was going to go start to wrestle a little bit more, and that you'd view me a little bit differently. So we knew we were crafting the storyline to kind of get me out of the heel of it all, the bad guy, the bad girl, and we did some stuff that really got me there.
And that brings us to the match with Stephanie at No Way Out 2001. Talk about that match, your memories of that day, going through it, and why that's such a big match in your career.
Well, it was my first singles pay-per-view match that we had a storyline going in, 2 defined characters, and the fans were super invested in the story, and it was a huge story. It was a big part of the entire show. And we both, I know there was probably really low expectations for both Stephanie and I because we weren't wrestlers, so to speak. And, but we really, really wanted to prove everyone wrong. Because I think people thought, oh, there's not a cat fight, because that's what we'd been really doing. But then we decided to get in the ring, and so we had a few training sessions. Now, if you didn't have to be so chronologically correct, you would have seen that I would have been so we got together, on our own time, we got together, and one day, Triple H comes in, and I'm like, oh, that is so generous of him to care so much about us as characters on the show that he's coming to help us put our match together. That is so nice of him. So that would have been better back then. You see, because then chronologically, let's make sure we do this.
You want to take over the show? No.
Give it to me.
Can you imagine?
So, yeah, can you imagine? Is that what you said?
Wild.
Everyone would just be doing yoga in here.
So when you did the match, did it exceed the expectations that you guys had going into it? And what do you remember about sort of you guys coming to the back after? Because that match is one of the most memorable matches on that show.
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
Which also included, Austin and Triple H, Rock and Kurt Angle.
Was it really? Well. It was, I think it exceeded expectations because the expectations were really low. I don't know what people thought. We were just going to roll around and fight, do cat fighting and stuff like that. So when we went out, we busted out some moves. We worked, we had the character work, and it had the story behind it, so fans were into it. It was great. When you have 2 defined, a defined babyface, a defined heel, it really makes for an amazing match, obviously, and great storytelling, which I'm just a huge fan of. And so, we were super proud of that, very proud of that match. And everyone was really, really proud of us as well because, as I said, we weren't traditional wrestlers. We weren't they knew we could kind of wrestle. But and it's funny because I was actually the experienced one in that scenario, which I wasn't really. So it was, if that tells you a lot at that point. But and then we had the Coach Hunter, Coach Hunter there cheering us on the sidelines. He cared so much about our match. He was because he cares about the show, as a whole, and all the contributing characters. So he just, was making sure that the match went well for the show, so that the show did well. So,
So there might not be a story to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So the WrestleMania 17 match is obviously very famous. Shane and Vince with you, Stephanie, Mick Foley, Linda in the wheelchair.
How epic, just naming all those characters.
So like,
Isn't it cool?
if a wrestling match happens,
Yeah.
right? Say it's like a tag team match.
Yeah.
You'd have the 4 guys backstage going over what spots they're going to do, going over how it's going to go. What is the layout for that match?
That's so funny. Okay, so you have Linda sitting in her chair. So I was thinking of doing this. Wait. Or, which one do you like better? Which one? And I'm like, okay. I think if you do the first one, but you put your head, if you like, maybe if you drool, would you drool? Are you willing to drool? Vince would love if you drool. Would you drool? And then she did, and because she was so committed to the character. So that it is a funny scenario, like picturing all these people putting together their moments, you know. And yeah, I don't recall it at all, but I bet you it was funny.
Working with Linda, I mean, what was that like? She was, the CEO of the company, and she's in this storyline. And in the end, you both get revenge on Vince. Like, what was it like working with her?
Oh, she's amazing. What a wonderful lady. I got a chance to, we did a speaking engagement at, I think it was a university or something we did together. And so we had a chance to really spend the day together. And she was so sweet because she saw me like come in. She saw me and Stephanie have our match together. And she embraced it. Like, you girls go get them, you know. I felt like she's kind of like she's like my wrestling mom almost, you know what I mean? And she was really, she understood the story. She knew the assignment, you know. And she was great at doing her character work, and she really took it serious, you know. She really did she really wanted to say, like, if I drool, would that be more effective for my character, you know? But she was really great, and totally just into every moment, and wanted to make sure the moments were great, and always, you know, making sure the timing was just right. What point do I stand up? Like, I know it's not that big a deal, but it is a big deal. These little things, right? When she stood up, like, remember the crowd? Just like when she was amazing, right? So she was very keen to know that these little tinny things made a difference, and it was great working with her.
And how important do you think, I mean, I know the answer, but like, how important was that?
You know the answer?
How important was that kind of story for the Trish Stratus character to have revenge on Vince, to be able to sort of go on after that?
Oh, yeah, there was the turning point for that character, because obviously there was TNA Trish, you know, she was representing Test, Albert, talent, ability, etc. Get it? They got it in Scotland. I'm just saying. They did. No, they understood. They
Why are you turning me against the crowd? This is so...
No, we love you, Kenny. We love Kenny. We love Kenny. We love Kenny.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So, thank you so much.
You should love Trish more.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so where were we?
So the big turning point for the Trish character.
Yeah, so I was, you know, Test and Albert's manager, and then obviously the Vince McMahon story, and we, you know, did a lot of work to really get you to, you know, you hated me. You guys hated me at that point as a character. Nah, okay, you love to hate me then. Okay, you're following along, so to speak. You're playing the game. No, Stephanie was. So then, what's that? And we knew that if we were going to, we maybe played with your mind a little bit. We were like, if we're going to make you have any sympathy for her and change the path of her character, we had to do some work. So we obviously did little, you know, storyline things along the way that made you feel a certain way. We developed a storyline that made you feel sympathy for Trish at a certain point. And then you were like, you don't know why, but suddenly you're rooting for her. You're like, come on, you can stand up for yourself. Like, stand up for yourself. You can do this. Don't take that crap, you know? And it's stuff that, like, is relatable. Like, people in life can go through this. And that's why that storyline, it's so poignant to people, because there is moments where, you know, you've taken the crap from someone, then you're like, I'm not going to take this crap anymore, you know. And so the Trish Stratus character had to, like, really go through that process, and we got to the point where WrestleMania was the moment. We worked all the little bits and pieces and the story arc to the WrestleMania moment, knowing that I would stand up and slap the taste out of Vince McMahon's mouth on the grandest stage of all, WrestleMania. Woo! Yeah, and then, you know, Trish Stratus, then a different character was sort of born that night.